Ted Zale on Tony Zale, the Man of Steel.
You know, it's a very humbling experience for me to finally have completed it. And I would not have gotten it done. I'd still be trudging through it if it hadn't been for Clay. Clay, of course, if you don't know it, he's a boxing historian. He's done 2 other books. One on Mr. Langford, who I consider probably the best fighter pound for pound ever, Sam Langford. And of course, another Milwaukee favorite, Billy Mitzi. So Clay and I came together. It's hard to believe it was 4.5 years ago. It took us 3.5 years to complete it, and then about a year to find somebody to publish it for us. Everyone said, "Oh, there's no home for boxing anymore. Boxing isn't a draw anymore, so we can't publish it for you." We got those reject letters time after time. But fortunately, we did go to Clay's past publisher, and he put it together for us. And now Tony Zale, the Man of Steel, is a reality. And truly, his fights outside the ring were much more competitive than those inside. So just to give you an idea, Uncle fought 87 pro fights, 67 of them won, 45 by knockout. He had a couple of draws in there. But early in his career, he quit boxing altogether. He simply said, "I'm getting hurt." He fought 27 times in about 8 months. Do you think they do that today?
No. 27 rounds.
Every time he pulled a back muscle, they said, "It doesn't matter. Just go in there and fight. Just go in there and fight." He did. Until he couldn't fight anymore. His back hurt too bad. His elbows hurt too bad. He simply quit and went to work in the Gary, Indiana steel mills.
Wow.
Now, if any of you are familiar with that side of labor, it was pretty doggone tough. You ever shovel slag? Slag is the old molten iron ore that's fallen off of the blast furnace. Well, he did that until his muscles became chiseled. Then in 1937, when he returned to the ring, a reporter said, "God, look at that kid. He looks like a piece of steel out of the Gary steel mills." And that's how Man of Steel became a reality. Clay, would you like to talk a little bit about how we ended up collaborating?
Yeah, well, like Ted said, I've written a couple different books before, one on Billy Mitzi and one on Sam Langford. And years ago, when I was about 32 years old, I had gone to a boxing gym for a year in the Seattle, Tacoma area. And there was a former world champion at the time by the name of Al Hostak. I read an article about him. He was living in the area, and he was kind enough to talk to me on the phone for about 30 minutes, and then he was also gracious enough to come down and meet me at the gym and show me a few things on the heavy bag. So, having won the title from Al Hostak, Tony Zale defeated Al Hostak for the midweight championship in the world. So he was a guy that always kind of intrigued me. And another of those fellows that over the years I always wondered why no one had ever written a biography about him. So I aspired to try to write one about him at some point. And finally just took the step and started to do a little bit of research about him. I made up my mind I wanted to write a biography about Tony Zale. And as a part of that, I knew that when I read biographies, I don't only want to just read about the fighter's fights and his boxing career. I want to get some of the personal side of his life too, because to me that makes it look much more interesting. So I started phoning around, trying to see if I could read some of the Zale family. And finally one of them offered to help provide some information. And then they told me I should really talk to Ted, Tony's nephew. So I think I emailed, I can't recall which it was now, and to my surprise I learned that he had made a promise to his uncle many years ago to write his biography for him. So he'd actually spent hours and hours with him doing tape interviews, had knocked out a number of chapters, but he had a full-time job and career, so it had been kind of slowly moving along. But Ted said, hey, we're working on a book on him already, but hey, why don't we do this together? That's really how it came about. And I'm thrilled that it did, because it gave me an opportunity to meet the Zales and uncover a wealth of information concerning Tony that I never would have learned otherwise. So I think it's a collaborative effort. It's much more effective.
Thank you, Clay. I was asked on a radio show out of Chicago, they said, when did you first realize your uncle was somebody famous? They said, well, Uncle Tony was a down-to-earth, humble, Catholic individual. He believed in the Ten Commandments. He believed in respecting your parents. And you would have never known if you were sitting and talking with him like we're doing today, that he was champion of the world. That he had gone into that square circle and put it all out there. You would have never known. He was just that humble a man, just an incredible individual. But I remember one time in 1952 when I was about this tall, and all of the family came to our house, and we were all around the kitchen table. I was short enough, I could fit under the kitchen table. So I'm sitting there and I'm hearing them talk about Sugar Ray Robinson this, Sugar Ray Robinson that. And all of a sudden, Uncle says, well, Jerry Lewis, the comedian, the actor, he's offered me $500,000 to fight Sugar Ray Robinson. And he's offered a life sum to Mr. Robinson. And my managers have given me the opportunity to do it one more time if Jerry can make the fight happen. Well, long and short was, that's when I realized Uncle was something really special. And lo and behold, that fight was never made, because of the words you heard earlier. Sugar Ray said, hey, you hit too hard to the body. And he did. And believe me, I learned the lesson once. Back when I was an aspiring boxer, hoping to go to the 1980 Olympics, I went and trained with him. And, he caught me under the ribs just once. And he didn't hit me very hard. I had a hard time breathing for a while.
So how old would he have been?
Uncle was, would have been 65. He was quite an individual, quite a champion, quite a man. But what really starts in the story, of course, Clay did all of the boxing because he really is a great historian, and you'll really enjoy the commemorative repertoire of the three Graziano lines. I know I keep reading them over and over again because they're just astounding what those two men went through in that ring. What was incredible for me was all of the personal side stories. It was tougher for Uncle outside, unbeknownst to anyone, including us in the family. Uncle was a very private person, just never told us. But unfortunately, I guess in today's market of psychology, they say that you are bipolar if you have several different personalities. And Uncle Tony's first wife did several different personalities that you'll read about in the book. Of course, there's several copies of those available in here for sale, and we'll be doing a book signing in what's called the Everlast Suite, the second tent shortly. So, Clay, do you have anything else to add, or do you have questions out there?
The only thing I would add to what you just said about his first wife was that was an example of one of the most interesting things to me that I learned as a result of working with Ted on this book and all the information that he had. I had no idea any of the backstory concerning his first wife and all the issues that Tony had to deal with outside the ring in terms of her behavior. I found that fascinating. It was really interesting to learn about the troubles in their relationship, some of the violence, and some of the issues pertaining to how she disciplined the children. So I think, to me, that going back to what I said earlier, that really rounds out the whole story. All the different sides of what was going on in his personal life, in addition to the fights in the ring and his training and so forth. You get a much more complete picture of the man as a result of all the information that Zale provided. Scott Hall.
Do we have any questions?
You hear a lot about the Graziano fights and the Marcel Cerdan fight, but you barely hear about any Tony's other fights. So my question is, other than those fights, what were the most significant fights in his career? Most significant fight before those fights, and maybe the most significant one after? And what did Tony think or say about those fights?
Well, first of all, he didn't have any after Sedan. That was the last one. But I think I've heard a couple people tell me on the ground today that they specifically asked him who his hardest fight was against, and he specifically mentioned a fighter by the name of, I see if I pronounced the last name correctly, Steve Mamakos. Early, tough fighter. He fought him a couple different times. He knocked him out in the 14th round, I believe, of their first fight. He mentioned him specifically as his hardest fight. I think he also said his best fighter, the all-around fighter that he fought was Al Hostak. Hostak was a vicious body puncher as well. My grandfather went to a couple of his fights, and I remember distinctly him always telling me that the man was a vicious body puncher. So Tony always said that Al Hostak was an especially talented and tough fighter. And I'll let Ted answer your question to finish this off in regards to Graziano, but I know he did tell me that he's they're not here. Yeah, they're boxers that he fought much better than Graziano.
Yeah, he fought Hostak 3 times.
Yeah, that would have been great.
He beat him all 3 times. So I mean, that was in the 40s. So I mean, that was an incredible feat back then because Hostak had the quickest hands in the ring, according to everybody back at that time. Then, of course, he fought Billy Conn, light heavyweight. Went up to a weight class that he really shouldn't have, but he gave it a shot before the war. And he had to get it in before the war because, like everybody, he needed a paycheck. He was just getting married. And he wanted to make sure his wife was taken care of while he went into the service. There was a couple of instances where some folks claimed to be Billy Conn in the service, and they challenged him. You'll find out that story in the book as well. You know, one of the things I think was the most unusual thing I found, Uncle Tony, loved the military, and he loved that regimentation. When he left the ring, he joined the Naval Reserve in the 1940s. Lo and behold, in 1952, he also joins the Army Reserves. So he's in the Navy Reserves in that same time frame, and in the Army Reserves. I've never heard of that happen. Ever. I didn't know it was possible to do, but he did. How he did it, I don't know. But they approved it, so.
Let me get it.
One fight that you don't seem to hear too much about, but it was a difficult fight for your uncle, was Billy Seuss. And it was, and I met him here on the grounds, and he spoke about, why is it that, I got 2 questions. One, like, why isn't Seuss remembered at all? And as far as Tony's major fights, that's not one you hear about, but it was a pretty important fight.
It sure was. And Seuss was a tough character for Tony. He was 6'2", had about a 2.5, 3.5 inch reject, and that was an incredible fight. They never got a chance to fight it. I'll let you play it.
Yeah, I don't recall now why exactly that was, but I think I seem to remember that. Yeah, exactly. I think Seuss went up in weight and they're happy.
One of the service never watched it. The Navy.
But there is a book out about Seuss. Someone finally did write one about it. I'm trying to think of the name of the author.
Champion of the time for God. The champion of the time for God.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the author. But there is a book out there.
In 1983, I had Tony's 70th birthday party in our home back in Lansing, Michigan. And of course, I was happy to send out a lot of invitations, including the Billy Seuss. Billy called, and I talked to him, and he said, Ted, when he hit me in the 3rd round with that right to the body, and nipped me on the chin with his left, he said, I couldn't breathe for about 4 rounds. And he said, I wanted to fight him again, but I could never drop down in weight. He kept going up and weight. And he was a big man. He was really, really good. He was the Muhammad Ali of his days. He really was. He was that fast on his feet. And that's how he beat Tony. Non-title fight.
Ted, a question here.
Over here. Here. All those fights he had, does the family have his memorabilia, his gloves, his title belt, whatever? Where is all that stuff? Did they keep it? Did he just not worry about it? Or?
Well, you have to get the book to find out. Seriously, the belts are here in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
His third belt, which was won from Hostak, was the NBA champion. We have no idea what happened. Wow. You know, Tony, you'll find in the late 40s, early 50s, moved around a lot. And a lot of the stories in there relate to what he went through in order to pull himself up by his own bootstraps. And a lot of his stuff was actually lost. And that's why you see him on many of the sites, eBay. You'll see him on eBay and a couple other sites. Simply because he moved from place to place to place and left stuff behind. The memorabilia he got, as an example, his induction into the various halls of fame, he has all of those. And of course, most of that's here. And more of it will be coming in the future.
Ted, two things I'd comment on it. And one is how beloved Tony was here at the Hall of Fame and how he felt about the Hall of Fame. I remember when we first started, Ed Brophy's license plate said Zale on it. That was, yeah. So you want to talk a little bit about that? And then secondly, for myself, on an insight with you is, you know, we all love our grandparents. We all have that special place. We all have nieces and nephews. We all have that special aunt. We have that special uncle. And to me, just meeting you briefly, this, especially with Clay at your side, but this is more than just a book of exposing a gentleman who's a fighter and a Hall of Famer. This is from your heart. This is a piece of family. So this Uncle Tony was very, very special to you, I take it. And so if you can tell us a little bit just of your feeling as the nephew.
Well, to say Uncle Tony was special in all of our eyes was he was the most humbling person that I've ever met. And, you know, I can't tell you enough about what he did for all of us in the family. You know, his post-fight career wasn't spent advertising. They wanted to do Pabst Blue Ribbon commercials. They wanted to do Budweiser commercials. He said, no, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't partake. He said, that's my choice. He said, if you want to. And I'll tell you, in 1987, we went out to a little Italian restaurant on the near northwest side of Chicago. And he plied me with wine. And then he said, I want you to be my biographer. I said, geez, I appreciate that. And I'm feeling really good right now. Yeah. With all that wine you gave me, I love that red wine. That's really good stuff. And he said, well, there's a reason for my insanity here. He said, I want you to do this for me. He said, it doesn't matter if you don't do it today or tomorrow. I want you to get it done somewhere along the line. And the reason I want it to get done is because I want people to understand there is a secret to life. And in this book, we disclose that secret that he has for a successful life. And we hope, truly hope, that you enjoy it as much as we did putting it together. This Hall of Fame meant everything to him, and that's why his belts are here. And they're not in New York, or they're not in LA, the World Boxing WBC portion. They're here because he wanted them here. And he wants us here as many years as we can walk and talk and show you what he was and why he did the things he did after. Because that's really where the story begins. We received an email probably about 2 or 3 days ago before we journeyed out here, and we shared it with Clay. a gentleman who is on his way actually right now to Afghanistan once again. He said he was really fortunate to have Tony Zale as his trainer in the 70s because Tony taught him some of the same skills that Tony passed on to many of the fighters, or excuse me, many of the servicemen back during World War II. Tony was stationed in Puerto Rico for his entire time, but he knew what to do if he got in trouble and you were unarmed. He taught this individual how to respond if he was attacked. And in his first tour in Afghanistan, he was attacked. And Tony Zale trained kicked him. And he was so pleased that he thought enough about it to literally email us and tell us Tony Zale's life once a week. So that's the kind of man he was. I guess I could sum him up in one word. He was not only my hero, he was a hero for thousands of generals, just like me.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Zale, thank you, Clay.